During the construction of our media text, we used programs such as Final Cut Pro and Photoshop to create our final teaser trailer. Firstly, in our teaser trailer, we wanted to create a unique approach, and therefore, when we included our production companies, we added a red tint to make it look more appealing and distinctive. This also allowed us to help fit the genre, as it was a dark and horrific approach. We came up with this idea when researching and planning at basic stages. We looked at films such as Transformers and Inception and saw how their opening had a personal effect. Although it wasn't a dramatic change on Paramount and Dimension, it gave it a personal touch, and also the genre was much more evident to the audience. This was successfully done as we asked for feedback and the outcome was positive. When using Final Cut Pro, we managed to create effects that were intended. Firstly, when looking at our raw footage, we realized it was extremely slow. We therefore cut bits by using the trimming tool on Final Cut Pro and sped up the scenes. An example of this was when people on the streets were walking. The reflection of the shadows was unique as it didn't show faces. We wanted the reflection to match the voiceover and therefore sped it up by 4 times. In addition to this, we also sped up the pace of the moon. This showed the transition of time passing, which created more tension as time was running out. By doing this, it allowed the audience to remain focused and interested on the teaser trailer. We also did this because when gaining audience feedback, we learned that the audience wanted to see quick and short shots rather than slow and informative ones. The audience were being informed about different scenes of the film as it had one main storyline, however other things are happening. Allowing the audience to see different parts of the film and what's included were important, and this is where the fades and cross dissolve to help make it evident. Firstly, we did this by adding a scene we didn't need, removing it and creating an empty block which separated the scene. We then clicked on cross dissolve and resized it to make it flow. In addition to adding a tint onto the production companies, we also added an effect called cold steel onto the graveyard scenes. This gave an uneasy feeling to the audience. We decided to go with this effect as we asked for feedback from our peers whether or not to include this. We did this by selecting the clips, going to effects and dragging the cold steel option to it. By making these shots dull, it helped fit the genre and the mood we were trying to create. In addition to this, we wanted to create the same effect again, but however in a different approach. We therefore took 4 quick shots of vampires with the signs imprinted on them. As the shots were fast, we wanted the sign to stand out, and therefore we added an effect called spot. We used a program called Hypercam to record and see the main character's perspective. This was informative for the audience and allowed them to see what the main character was seeing. Doing this was effective and key as it also helped tell the story. We thought that this would be ideal. We firstly recorded her searching for vampires on Google, trimmed the bits we needed and added it in. When we saw it dragged on for too long, we zoomed into the newspaper articles that we had created. The main words that captured the viewer's attention were bite marks. This is a convention of a horror film as it makes the audience more aware of what was going on. Also, from just seeing these 2 words of the main headline, makes them more intrigued and leaving them wanting more. When the attack at the end occurs, it looks mysterious. This is because we added an unhumane effect by matching the colour with the clip. This helped fit our genre and the effect we were trying to create. We used a Fujifilm camera with 14 megapixels and an 18 optical zoom, with a 28mm zoom lens allowing us to get the shots we wanted. We use this camera mainly for the daytime shots, such as Harleen researching about vampires and the tunnel scene. However, we used another camera which was also Fujifilm with 16 megapixels. We found that it took better night shots when we were location scouting. We looked over our test shots and came to a conclusion as a group that we would use this camera for night shots, such as the establishing shots and the graveyard scenes.
You see hundreds of people every day. You walk past them on
We also use this camera to film shots of Jessica in the dark, dressed as a vampire.
Okay.
We used Photoshop to create our film poster and magazine cover. The Magic Wand tool allowed us to cut parts of the image that we didn't need, such as the green background from our original image for both the film poster and magazine cover. We used the spot healing tool to the main primary image from the magazine cover in order to make it look more professional. We downloaded a font called Van Helsing's from defont.com to be able to create an eye-catching title that would attract a large audience to watch our film. Finally, in order to make our evaluation as creative as possible, we used a voice Final Cut Pro to record our individual evaluation answers. Some individuals in our group also recorded themselves by using Photo Booth on the Apple Macs as another way to discuss our evaluation questions. Rambo took screenshots and used Hypercam to visually show the audience feedback that we received about our teaser trailer, poster, and magazine cover. This is our final magazine and poster after editing it on Photoshop.